Pennington. My name, for those of you who haven't met, I introduced myself down at the football ground. Hopefully you can all hear me. My name's John Smith. I'm Managing Director of GB Rail Freight, who is the owner of this beast behind us. Hopefully you just indulge me for a second whilst I say a few things about the business about my business before we get on to the main business of the day. GB Rail Freight is the third largest rail freight operator in the UK. We started about 10 years ago with two of us, and as of today we've got about 400 working for us now, with a turnover of about 100 million. I'm very pleased to say we've just recently got involved with the reopening of a big steelworks up in the northeast, which you may notice is where I'm from. What we do on a day-to-day basis, we have a number of these locomotives, about 50 now, and these locos pull various goods around the country. We do a lot of coal traffic in the northeast, but as far as the Birmingham area is concerned, we operate out of the Hampton Hall area, which is over near Water Orton, and we move a lot of boxes. So if you're ever shopping for your bottle of wine or your barbecue out of B&Q, it's more than likely arrived behind one of these locos in a box from China, as we don't seem to make many of these anymore. More recently we've been bought by Eurotunnel. We were sold about a year ago, so I'm now owned by a French company. And Eurotunnel operate the Channel Tunnel. It's not the high-speed trains that go through there, but also own us. And in consequence, we've recently won some traffic from Europe, and we're now running for Tesco's trains out of Spain. One has just arrived, and if you're in Tesco's tomorrow buying your goods, buying your fruit and veg rather, it's more than likely again arrive behind one of our locomotives. Now, one of the themes to GB Rail Freight over the years that we've had is always have a bit of fun, because we work hard and we like to play hard. As I'm an ardent football supporter, having fun has meant having events like this and various other things that we do. And the theme of football naming on locomotives goes back many years. We had in the 1930s and 1940s in this country a fleet of steam locomotives that were named after football clubs, mainly down the East Coast. Unfortunately, one of them was named after Sunderland. So when we started working out of the northeast on coal traffic, it occurred to me that it was a great opportunity to resurrect the theme of locomotives being named after football clubs. And Sunderland Association Football Club was the first one we did, and I'm pleased to welcome, I think, Jim Montgomery and Dick Malone, our 73 Cup final team, are here as well. So having done that theme and done a couple of other locos, I'm afraid we've done Derby County, Blue Hiss and Sheffield Wednesday as well. Why Wolves? Well, it's all down to a young man who is somewhere around here, and I haven't got my specs, called Harry Cartwright, who's down there. And Harry started, I think it's described as pestering me, about 2 years ago to carry out a naming of Wolverhampton Wanderers. He knew the theme that we were rolling out. He then tempted me with the fact that Susie Perry was a Wolverhampton Wanderers supporter and that she'd be here, which she unfortunately hadn't, and then also suggested that Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin, who's also a Wolves supporter, would come along. But eventually, Harry's pestering of me worked out, and we decided to go ahead with the naming today. Now I do have connections with the area. My family before I was born lived here. My sister's here, and she was actually born in Wolverhampton. And we used to live on the same road as Billy Wright, and my father knew Billy Wright. I haven't been able to catch up with him, unfortunately. He's no longer with us, but he reflected on Billy Wright when he was alive. Now, there's a number of comparisons between Wolves and Sunderland. I've obviously gone back into history, and the biggest victories do lie with Sunderland, I'm afraid. We've beaten you 7-2 on 2 occasions, 1904 and 1910. But we've also had a number of players that have come to both clubs. Don Goodman, who unfortunately can't be with us today. Jody Craddock, I think, is still one of your players. And obviously we've shared Mick McCarthy's talents as a manager as well. And actually the main thing we've done for you is we let you stay up last season by allowing you to beat us 3-1 at the Stadium of Light. The unfortunate thing for us is we haven't bloody won there since, and consequently we now have Martin O'Neill taking over, so it's going to be interesting on Sunday to see whether his motivational skills start to come to the fore. I think one of the things, though, about the clubs, ourselves and Wolverhampton, is the degree of passion that the supporters have for their particular clubs. Clearly there's a lot of peer pressure in this country now for Liverpool, Man United, whoever else it may be, but I have a lot of time for people who are loyal to their local club. My sister actually should be Wolverhampton, but she moved away very young, so she's become Sunderland. But it's loyalty throughout a long history, and I know Wolverhampton have that history. And I know this will be the only locomotive named after the world champions, and someone can tell me when that was that they became that. 1954. And of course, I remember the passion because I've been chased back from Molineux to this railway station on more than one occasion by the supporters having won a game here. Now, enough from me. I'd like to introduce now your Vice President, Baroness Rachel Hayhoe-Flint. Rachel's, I'm sure you all know this because I know she's well renowned in this area, a cricketer and a broadcaster, and has been a Wolves supporter all her life, and has been telling me about some of the history of that, of when the first floodlit match took place here. So what I'd like to do is ask Rachel to come up and say a few words herself, and then we'll get Harry up just to do the unveiling of the nameplate. So thank you very much for this, Rachel.
I'm meant to be a sort of an Amazon of about 28 feet tall, but thank you very much indeed, John, for that. I won't bore you with all those 7 super seats. I'll just let you know that when this train is out of action this evening, it's going to go to Molineux. It's going to be parked across the goal line for Sunday at 4 o'clock. And I defy you to be suspended with that there. But it's great to have young Harry here. I think you've been so fantastic to do this. I know what persistence is like because it took me 9 years to become the first lady member of the MCC. Only 9 years, my campaign, you know, and that was after 204 years of history. So to have the persistence of Harry, people at Highfield School, is absolutely fantastic. You've had your free plug for Tesco's, well, I'm sure we'll all be going off there. Yes, Jodie Craddock is still with us, and I'm so sorry that I'm a very poor example of Susie Perry and Robert Plant. I have had my hair cut a little bit. You also mentioned a wonderful goalkeeper, Jim Montgomery, 1973. I was watching in black and white on our television at home, which is about that big. We also have a legendary goalkeeper here, Matt Murray, who's joined us at the back there, who has been a legend within our club. So teams of goalkeepers, teams of wonderful trains, and I have been promised that if I run out of trains coming back from London late at night, after running the country for you in the House of Lords, John is personally going to send this great train down here. I know also one person who will be particularly thrilled about the naming of the train, Harry, and that's Sir Jack Haywood, the Wolves president, because partly of the GB within the naming of the company, anything to do with Great Britain, is, even though you're owned by a French company. That's why you spelled Molineux on this. We've got an N out. We are greatly thrilled that we have got our own vehicle, I suppose. Do we call it a vehicle or a
locomotive?
Our own locomotive, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Harry Cartwright, who is. You are going to become a legend in this town for what you have done for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Thank you very much indeed, Harry. And thank you. Where's the board?
Oh, very good.
Big roll of drums.
Yeah, roll of drums. Go ahead.
Can we get a few more shots with?
Can we take the microphone? Yeah, well.